Welcome, everybody, to the Burke Brigade, brought to you by the Liberty Daily,
your conservative alternative to the Drudge Report.
Good job, honey. Hey, this is Matthew and
Jennifer Burke,
here with the Burke Brigade on a lovely Wednesday evening here. It is August 16th, 2017. Late in the evening here, burning the midnight oil to give you high-quality podcasting. Again, brought to you by the Liberty Daily, thelibertydaily.com, your conservative drudge alternative. Starting from the top, another crazy day here in the skin pigmentation obsessed left-stream media, and the obsession with skin color by the racist Democrat Party and all of the Marxists within the Democrat Party. Don Lemon had...
Kremlin Lemon.
Yeah, Don Kremlin. Oh my gosh, that's a good one. I haven't heard that before.
I've said that before.
You have?
You always told me it was very good.
Yeah, see, there's the old memory going. Anyway, Marxist Michael Moore appeared on Don Lemon and compared Trump voters to rapists, not racists. They've gone beyond. They're burning that card now. That is so over the top. But no, they're rapists now. And what it is in this analogy, and you'll hear it here in just a second. President Trump is holding down the woman. I'm sorry, the Trump voter is holding down the woman. And then they're not actually doing the rape. President Trump is then coming along to do the rape. And so the Trump voter is enabling the rapist.
Why rape? What the hell is he talking about?
I think he's like fantasizing about something.
Obviously.
He's got a sick, twisted mind.
It is the most... I don't even know... Did he eat? Is he on a food hangover or something?
I'm so sick of him.
Did he eat a little bit too much fat?
Well, look at him.
Look, we were not Trump supporters. If you follow, we have these idiots on social media that want to accuse us of being Trump shills. No, if you could read some of the former articles I wrote about Donald Trump during the primary, you would know. We were actually Ted Cruz supporters. But, as I told someone previously, I am a fan of truth. I'm a fan of truth, I'm a fan of the Constitution, and our stance is if President Trump does something that we think is good, that we think is right, that we think is virtuous, that we think is in line with the government-sanctioned actions by the Constitution...
But he will do from time to time.
He will do from time to time. We'll praise him for it. But if he doesn't, we have laid into him hard over things that we felt were towing the liberal line and unconstitutional. And so this... If you hold down the woman while the rapist is raping her and you didn't rape her, are you a rapist? What the hell does that mean?
Let's listen to this because it's just really sick.
I said this before on your show. He's not as stupid as people. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Sorry. Guys, please, come on. Okay, here we go.
He knows the words to use, and I'm certain that the 63 million people that voted for him actually... vast majority of them love that press conference.
Well, not all Trump supporters.
Not all. I said the vast majority.
But they take offense to people calling them racist because they supported him.
Yeah, but what are...
So then how do you... The question is that how do you deal with that?
If you hold down the woman while the rapist is raping her, and you didn't rape her, are you a rapist? I mean, let's just really... Let's cut the BS and start speaking honestly. If you vote for a man who says what he said today, that the white nationalists were the victims, that...
He didn't say that.
Okay, he never said that.
He never said that, Michael Moore. Why don't you take off your freaking baseball cap, trying to look like you're every freaking day Joe, and dress up to show who you really are with your multi-million-dollar houses, as you tried to keep them, as you screwed your wife over, your ex-wife during a divorce, because you want to screw her over. Do you know how insulting that is to women who have been raped? To use that idiotic, asinine thing
very
as
insensitive.
Very insensitive.
It's mean.
Can you
it's mean-spirited.
Can you imagine if a Republican had uttered those words and Don Lemon described it as powerful?
I mean, I think he's fantasizing because the only way he could get a woman is by raping her.
Who knows? It's just it's ridiculous. Michael Moore, number one, stop propping up this freaking loser, lefties. His movies don't do any good. They bomb. He's trying to make a name for himself so that what I heard, I think, what is he going to have, an HBO show, a Showtime show, a Netflix
he's gonna
show,
have something
like that? Why?
That'll go
Why?
over
I
just
guess
great.
that is a prime example of how leftists don't care whether or not they make money while pushing their propaganda, because they're going to prop up this two-bit loser whose movies have bombed over and over again and give him a show to continue to spew leftist propaganda.
Besides that, what he is saying is not true. Trump didn't say anything remotely close to what he is saying that he said. What Trump said is racism is evil. Racism is evil. Now,
no matter who it comes
what
from.
about that is not clear?
You know what? But maybe the left-wing media, the Democrat media complex, is subscribing to Eric Holder's stance that black people can't be racist. Look, I can tell you firsthand. I'm a black woman. As I said, I've been black my entire life. Both my parents are black. I'm blacker than Barack Obama, who wants to at one point be black, then he's Jewish, then he's Irish, then whatever the hell he is. But I just don't get this, oh, black people can't be racist. I remember walking in the mall with my white boyfriend, not this white man. See, yes.
No one would dare look at us the wrong way.
I remember
with these muscles.
Gun show, baby.
Hey, welcome to the gun show.
I remember when I was in college walking through the mall with my white boyfriend, and I wondered, oh, what kind of looks are we going to get? You know what looks I got, what dirty looks I got, were from black people. When I was having lunch with my friends from church, who mostly happened to be white and or Hispanic, went to Catholic church, and when I was in college, I got dirty looks from the black students who segregated themselves, self-segregation, in a corner of the cafeteria, who looked at me like, oh my gosh, how dare she eat with those white people? So yes, Eric Holder, black people can be racist, and Black Lives Matter is a dangerous, dangerous movement. Stop portraying them as, oh, they're standing up against fascism. What did Don Lemon say? Their tactics might be wrong. Oh, so now Don Lemon,
that's what he said about Antifa.
Antifa, but I'm sure that he'd lump in Black Lives Matter the same way because their tactics have been the same.
I don't think he would question their tactics.
They destroy. They destroy.
Yeah, but that's okay. But
their tactics are just wrong.
They're down for the struggle. Don't you get it?
Ugh.
God, you don't understand. Okay, let's listen to this fat buffoon.
That he equated George Washington and Thomas Jefferson with Robert E. Lee. And
okay, this shows what a dumbass he is. We went through this yesterday. I'm not going to do it again. Robert E. Lee, you could look up quotes, Bing Robert E. Lee quotes. He was against slavery. If you do a couple of other searches, you'll find out he didn't even own slaves. So he's talking out of his fat white ass. Let's play it.
And said that the people there trying to stop the racism, the anti-racism protesters, that they were...
Antifa is not anti-racism.
They don't care about racism.
They don't care. They are users. Honey, what was at the bottom of many of their signs?
Oh, workersparty.org or something like that.
Yeah, Commie Party.
Which is affiliated with the Communist Party USA, as they're waving their communist flags. But oh no, They're
anti-racist.
Anti-racist. The left has been using race to divide this country for decades.
Yeah.
And it's coming to a boil because it's so profitable for them politically. Okay,
right.
let's listen to Marxist Michael Moore.
The violent ones. They were the, that is just, it just went so far. But I'm telling you,
that's a very powerful and uncomfortable anecdote that you share, and people will think that you're comparing Trump voters to
because you
racists.
did.
I mean, to rapists.
Yeah,
and
it's uncomfortable, isn't it?
I wonder why they would think that.
Yeah, why would they think that? Is it maybe because he did?
He did? Oh, and it's uncomfortable. What if somebody was on there and said Obama's raping America by screwing over the healthcare system?
You can't say
Don
that.
Lemon would be down his throat.
That is uncomfortable.
Yeah, because enablers of immoral behavior, criminal behavior.
Oh my God! Seriously,
what is the criminal behavior that Trump did?
What did you say, Michael Moore, about the people setting cars, buildings, destroying businesses in Baltimore, in Ferguson, in Berkeley, in Seattle?
He was cheering them on.
Did you say anything about that?
He was cheering them on.
God.
Oh well.
You're such a user and a
justified.
loser.
It's justified.
All those people, including Don Kremlin Lemon, who are giving this idiot a microphone to spew his propagandist hack-filled rhetoric, are simply propping him up and making him relevant and giving credence to his lie-based words.
And the problem is, we don't like talking about him either, but you have to address this stuff, or then the words take hold, and you do have the useful idiots of society that actually believe what he is saying. Now, there was, along these lines, this is an opinion piece on one of our websites, The Politistic. It's written by Tea Partier. He's a black gentleman. May have seen him at Tea Party rallies last several years. Got an awesome voice, awesome message. Lloyd Marcus. And he's got an opinion piece here. Don't fall for leftists dividing us racially to get Trump. Now, that is exactly what they're doing. And rather than read all of this to you, because it's very lengthy, but one of the things he does here is he takes us down memory lane. So let me just read a little bit of this here. Fake news media is having a cow over Trump, rightfully and truthfully declaring all sides guilty of spreading racial hate in Charlottesville. Leftists refuse to acknowledge that black racism... Oh my God, can he say that?
He's black, he can.
Really? Okay. Leftists refuse to acknowledge that black racism is just as evil as white racism. This part just has to hurt. Where were leftists when Black Lives Matter declared an open season on killing whites and cops? Here, I'm just going to play just a second of this here.
Kill whites and cops. Black Lives Matter affiliated radio show calls for a race war. In a disgusting audio broadcast via Blog Talk Radio yesterday, an individual who admitted affiliation with the Black Lives Matter movement called for listeners to murder white people and police, declaring an open season for executions.
Open season on killing white and white police officers. And I want to talk about the shooting of the white deputy sheriff in Houston, Texas. It's open season on killing white and white police officers. And
so that was in September 2015. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Did Obama come out and condemn that?
No, he didn't, because what we heard time and time again when he had these racist idiots who would say things like this was, they don't represent the whole movement. We would see Black Lives Matter people marching down the streets saying, what do we want? Dead cops. When do we want them now? Or
I think I've got
pigs
that.
in a blanket. Fry them like bacon. Pigs in a blanket. They don't speak for the whole movement. But then you have one, you have this that happens in Charlottesville with some white supremacists, and suddenly they not only represent all white people, but they represent all conservatives everywhere.
And the President of the United States.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, let's just take a stroll down memory lane here. Cops! Now!
Louder and louder.
Dead cops! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Dead cops!
What happened a day or two after that march in New York? 2 police officers, a white guy and an Asian guy, were sitting in their car,
doing nothing,
eating lunch, doing nothing on their break, and some Black Lives Matter supporting black man went up, shot them both in the head. I don't recall Obama denouncing Black Lives Matter. I don't recall the media and Don Kremlin Lemon demanding that Obama denounce Black Lives Matter. No, it didn't happen. It didn't happen at all.
You mean the media didn't harass him for days? Not only did he not give an insufficient statement, he gave no statement.
No statement. Well, I mean, remember too, we want to talk about open fire on different groups. I think I said this a couple episodes ago when the Muslim terrorist who shot up Fort Hood walked into a place where he knew the soldiers would not be armed and started shooting, crying Allahu Akbar. Barack Obama later that evening at a place not too far from Fort Hood, Texas, cracked a joke. He cracked a joke.
But
I don't remember the media calling him out for it.
Was the media butthurt about that?
No.
Why not?
No, not at all. We can't
really
blame all Muslims for the actions of that one. I mean, is what we constantly heard. But every single white person is responsible for what the.
What about when the dude killed 5 Dallas police officers?
And he was a Black Lives Matter supporter.
Did Obama call out Black Lives Matter by name?
Nope.
I mean, Trump actually did call out the various racist groups, white supremacists, etc. Obama never did.
Never. What about?
Why is there a double standard?
We know why. What about?
This is why these white supremacists
Democrat media
get
complex.
energized. Is because there is a double standard.
What about when an American journalist was beheaded by ISIS, and Barack Obama held a press conference, and then he at the golf course. Then he immediately went out yucking it up with his buddies playing golf.
He literally had the golf cart waiting for him. Outside where he was giving his emotionless little prepared talk. Somebody threw a script in front of him.
American beheaded by ISIS, Barack Obama's emotionless.
And the next thing you hear is,
shot up by Muslim terrorists in San Bernardino, in Orlando, in Fort Hood, Obama emotionless. But boy, get him on his bully pulpit. Get him on. Oh, he sounds like a Baptist preacher.
Warfare.
We can't. When he wants to attack white people, but that's okay. He's
it's not a
he's
problem.
The crooner.
It's not a problem.
Ooh, crooner in chief.
That's why these white supremacists are triggered to do what they're doing. That's why they are on the rise, because there has been, and it's undeniable, and it's politically incorrect to talk about, but there is a double standard. And some people are willing to go to extra measures. It's shameful, but it's happening, and I'm just telling you, that is why it's happening. A lot of these people, they weren't born racist, but they look at the passes that Obama got from 8 years, how the media watched him violate the Constitution for 8 years, how they watched Eric Holder violate the Constitution for 8 years, and nobody could say a damn thing about it because of the color of their skin.
Right. I mean, look at it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the poor woman who was killed.
It's horrible.
In Charlottesville. It's
horrible.
Terrible. But the media has spent more time on that and wanting to tie that in with Donald Trump. Donald Trump didn't know the man.
Oh, they're making him the murderer.
Wanting to tie that in with Donald Trump and all conservatives. Then they
That's a narrative.
On Border Patrol agent Brian Terry, who was killed, who is dead directly because of the actions of Barack Obama and Eric Holder, who ran a gun-running scheme in order to try to attack the First Amendment rights of Americans.
Or these
and
cops
as a result, Brian Terry is dead.
That's right. And these cops getting randomly shot, doing the jobs that none of these people that shoot them would have the balls to do, and they were absolutely inspired by the words of Barack Obama and Eric Holder, and there was no accountability.
None.
Remember when the professor broke into his own house? He was breaking into his own house. He locked his keys in the house or something. What was it? Henry Gates. Remember that?
Right.
They had the whole damn beer summit.
He was simply asked to show his ID, and he refused.
Right, because he wanted to start a racist situation and accuse the cops, and then without knowing his head from a hole in the wall, Obama came out and said the cops acted stupidly. Remember that?
Right.
He didn't know what the hell happened.
Nothing.
The cops did absolutely nothing wrong.
Nothing.
You see any man, trying to break into a house.
Somebody
called the cops.
Of what somebody said.
Yeah, hey, we've got somebody here breaking into a house. Oh, the cops acted stupidly. Why? Because he's black?
Right, and then remember
you
at the
can't
beer
stop
summit,
somebody who's black breaking into a house.
Remember at the beer summit, if this
How would
would
they
have
know it's their
been,
own
if this
house?
would have been Trump or even George Bush instead of Barack Obama, the media coverage would have been different. The beer summit, when Henry Gates couldn't make it down the stairs, who helped him down? Barack Obama was doing his George Jefferson strut ahead of everybody down the stairs. Who helped him down the stairs? The white cop who was accused of being racist. Wheezy.
Oh my God.
It's not easy.
Oh, you're terrible.
Well, we're moving on up.
Moving on up. Oh, and remember this. Here's another trip down memory lane that Lloyd Marcus takes us. Remember when the teenagers, these black teenagers, poured gasoline on a 13-year-old boy?
Wasn't he walking with his black girlfriend?
Because he was white.
He was white, and he had been walking with it. Was this the one? Because I remember writing a story a few years back.
I don't remember that part.
I remember writing a story a few years back about a white boy who was walking home with his black girlfriend, and after he dropped her off and he was walking, he got attacked. I think this guy got beat up and hit by a bunch of black boys because they didn't like the fact he was dating a black girl.
Could be.
But
they lit him on fire.
Lit him on fire.
They lit him on fire, and they said, quote, this is not from, Breitbart or something. This is from the New York Daily News, which is left of left. This is what you deserve. You get what you deserve, white boy. Did Obama condemn that? No. Did the media come out and, where is the president on this?
Did they convene panel after... Ray, quiet. Did they convene panel after panel on that?
I mean, white boy, isn't that racist? When you light someone on fire
and
because of the color of their skin, wouldn't you consider that racist?
One would think, but when white people, including pregnant white women and old white people, were being attacked and hit in the knockout quote-unquote game by young black thugs, those weren't even considered hate crimes.
So Trump says racism is evil. Something about that is not clear to the media. I'm not quite sure what, but... Also down memory lane, and this is just July of last year, barely over a year ago, but there was a Black Lives Matter commie agitator who was using highway shutdowns as a protest tactic. And guess how Obama condemned him? How did Obama condemn him?
Obama, shocking.
Oh my God, so outrageous.
Invited this person to the White House. Well done, my good servant, well done.
Yeah, for a butt-slapping session. You know, where was the media outrage about that?
Obama, look, I said the hard truth because I am a black woman, and according to Eric Holder, again, it's impossible for me to be racist. I said the hard truth when it came to Obama for many, many years. He was the affirmative action president who got a pass
Ouch.
because of the color of his skin.
And he's not
got a
even
pass.
he's not even the first black president.
I am more
his mom's whiter
he's
than I am.
He's the first half black president.
Let's be accurate.
Half black. And you know what?
Hey, Michael
How
Moore, let's
insulting-
be honest. Let's
how
be
insulting-
honest.
Can you
He's not the
imagine-
first black president.
Can you imagine if Donald
DNA.
Trump...
Hashtag DNA.
Can you imagine if Donald Trump was half black and he called himself white, the outrage the media would have? I am the stepmother to biracial children. I am the aunt to biracial children. I am the great aunt to biracial children. And I would think people would think it insulting to expect someone to denounce an entire part of their heritage, as Obama did for 8 years, as he played on, being black. No, you aren't black. What is it about your white heritage that you want to denounce? Was it because your mother was an America hater? You know, your mother, did she wish she were black? Did she regret being white?
She might have been a Rachel Dolezal type.
He was raised by white grandparents who then sought out the help of a communist to help be a mentor for him so he could have a black man in his life, since his father was busy getting with women, marrying multiple women in Africa. Messed up.
Unreal. So just trip down memory lane again. This was at the same time, the day before these highway protests, Micah X. Johnson killed 5 Dallas police officers.
And the X was for Malcolm X. He was given a hat tip to Malcolm X.
So, where was the media outrage? But yet, if Donald Trump, who I am no Trump sycophant, but why in the hell does he have to say every word in the exact same order at the exact time that the media and the Democratic Party subscribes, or else they have a conniption fit?
Right.
But yeah, Obama never condemned anything that
Never.
needed to be condemned. You know, he's funding our enemies in Iran. He's literally delivering pallets of billions of dollars.
Cash. Money,
What could
money,
possibly What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah.
And the media's like, can I please kiss your ass over that?
Right? Don't worry, Barack. We got this. We'll talk about something else. We'll find something else
Trump.
to talk about.
And so this is why Trump can get away with calling the media fake news. And
Yes.
this is why it resonates
Yep.
with a lot of people outside of the left coast corridor
Right.
and the east coast corridor.
Right.
You know, and this is why Trump, he annoys those people so much, and they do not understand the appeal. Even though I was not a Trump supporter, I totally understood the appeal.
Exactly. And you know what?
I didn't believe half the stuff he was saying,
Right.
but I did understand the appeal. These people don't even understand the appeal because they're all Democrats, they're all progressive leftists, you know, in a party that has become the party of sexual deviants, perverts, and America-hating communists. They are so out of touch. You know, for Michael Moore to get on there and call 64 million Americans rapists. Or rapist enablers, and Don Lemon to say, well, that's powerful. Wow, that's sure powerful. You know what? You just called them rapists. I wonder if some people might think you just called them rapists.
Didn't I just hear either this morning or yesterday some Democrat talking about, we just all need to show love.
Show them love
to one another.
Love.
And I
But
said,
love,
after all
true
these
love.
years of them saying the ugliest, nastiest, disparaging, vile things about conservatives, now they want to talk about love?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, they got a funny way of showing love. Meanwhile, these Antifa, America-hating communists, they are communists. They're out there. You can see it all over the internet. They're waving their communist flags. They got their hammer and sickle. They're Soros paid goons that are troublemakers. They want to disrupt America so they can do a communist takeover of America. They're the same people that, ruin Venezuela, ruin other countries as well. They're, the revolutionaries. And the media, because Trump, it wasn't, as articulate as I would like, but at least he said there were two sides in Charlottesville. And there were two sides. There were two sides.
Look, media, let me cut you a little slack here.
People don't fight themselves.
Let me cut you some slack. I'm a black woman, and I give you permission to call out racism within the black or the wannabe black, like Rachel Dolezal, the former NAACP lying black-faced head of the Spokane NAACP. It's okay to call out racism from them. There are black
there
racists.
isn't. It's not okay.
There are racists on the left.
Because they're afraid of violence.
There are racists. Yeah, it's like they're afraid of what people are going to do to them.
It's why they won't say radical Islamic terrorism. They want to kiss their ass so they don't attack them. They think that they'll somehow be spared.
Right.
That's why Michael Moore and these hypocrites like Bernie Sanders can live their lives of luxury while they're poverty pimps.
Right.
Because they don't want people outside their front door.
Right. Yeah, people forget about Bernie Sanders and his 3 houses and his avid supporter
who
tried to murder a bunch of Republicans. Even Steve Scalise's attempted assassination didn't get as much play as this poor woman's funeral. The media should be ashamed of themselves for politicizing her death for their political purposes.
It's unreal. So the media today, here was the big overriding narrative in the Democrat media complex. Hat tip and Andrew Breitbart. And this is from the Daily Caller. Major figures work to mainstream violent Antifa protesters. Now we have to get our language right first. This is why we always get killed on our side. Quit calling these people protesters.
Right, they're not protesters.
They're not protesters. Call them what they are. They're America-hating communists. They're agitators. They're violent. I mean, they got the word violent right.
And just because they call themselves anti-fascist doesn't mean that's what they are. They're actually fascist. How do you call yourself?
No, they're anti-fascist because they're pro-communist. They've got their own flavor of tyranny.
Right, but what I'm saying is, I've heard leftists after leftists, including people on CNN saying they were fighting against the fascists. They were fighting against the racists. No, that's not what they were doing. They are users and abusers. They put themselves in a situation and they try to garner support and sympathy, and you just gave it to them.
Okay, so here's Chris Cuomo, rhymes with, don't say it, with CNN. Chris Cuomo, whose his dad, Mario Cuomo, was the Democrat governor of New York, and whose brother, Andrew Cuomo, is the Democrat governor of New York. But yet, he gets on TV and tries to masquerade as an objective journalist. Urinalist. More like it. Urinalist. Urinalist. So he's Mr. Cute here. He tweets today, bright and early.
My God.
Just it's shameful.
Sickening.
It's absolutely. It's at Chris Cuomo, Cuomo, and they're showing our brave soldiers storming the beaches of Normandy, right? And you can tell how coordinated this is within the left stream media.
Journalists.
So it shows the picture. It's a meme. And it says, anti-fascist disrupting a large gathering of white supremacists. And then it shows our brave soldiers. As if that's Antifa. They're saying these Antifa goon squads are the same as our brave soldiers leading the world to victory in World War II and stopping the exact same type of tyranny that they want to bring to America. And then he goes, Mr. High and Mighty, let's not forget. F you.
Yeah.
Brian Fallon, who's he with? He's with CNN.
Shocker.
CNN. Real shocker. So he tweets the exact same meme, but it doesn't have the words on the meme, but it's basically the same picture. It shows the same soldiers storming Normandy, and then he writes on Twitter, also confronted the Nazis without a permit.
Look, here's the deal. These white supremacists, yes, look, any leftist, anybody that wants you to believe that there's ever going to be a world without racism are lying idiots. They're fools. They're duping you. It's not going to happen. Okay, leftists spend a lifetime pushing God out of society. And then they want to act like they can be God. So there are no morals anymore. There are no morals. They want to act like they can be God and make everything perfect, make everything better. It's never going to happen that it's going to be that way. It's just not.
And meanwhile, the ACLU is getting, not exactly a right-wing organization. That is as left as you get. Its founder was an avowed communist. Mm-hmm. The goal of the organization was to bring communism to America.
Wasn't that the group that said, wave lots of flags, we want to look like we're patriotic?
Right. But nevertheless, they are getting heat because they fought for the white supremacists to get a permit.
Right.
To do their rally. They have a rally. Even as objectionable and disgusting as they are, the First Amendment is designed to protect speech that we don't agree with.
And these idiotic,
so they fought for it. So now they're getting attacked, even though they're on the left.
And these idiotic people on the right that want to, try to stand with Antifa and say, oh, they don't have a right. The white nationalists don't have a right to have their speech. That's a dangerous line that you're taking, because the goal of the left is to silence all speech on the right. They want to talk about, I'm not a Milo fan, I said this the other night, but, he has a right to speak where people want him to speak. And the left shut him down. The Antifa fascists shut him down at Berkeley in a violent, fiery, literally, way. They shut down Ann Coulter. They shut down Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro, why weren't they ever called anti-Semitic for trying to shut down Ben Shapiro, who is Jewish? They weren't. Ben Shapiro is
no. Where was the media?
Yeah, nowhere. Ben Shapiro is no Milo. They just don't like what he has to say. They don't like what he has to say. They want, as Micah Brzezinski from MSNBC said, they want to control what you think. And as soon as we let them control what we think and control what people can hear, that is what will lead to the demise of this great experiment called America.
So the media is trying to normalize these America-hating communists in Antifa that want to do their own French Revolution in the United States, and it always begins, this is the George Soros playbook, you tear down the monuments. That's where it starts first. You start tearing down the monuments. Did you see what John Latrine tweeted today?
Ugh. No, I didn't.
He said there's no moral equivalency between racists and America's standing up to defy hate and bigotry.
So John Latrine is standing up for Antifa.
Yeah, he's blowing a kiss to these America-hating communists. They're not standing up for anything other than to destroy the country.
You can't see me unless you're looking at our static picture on our Spreaker page. But I'm a black woman. I grew up in the South. I'm a black woman. I grew up in the South. I grew up also, though, watching the Dukes of Hazzard. I could not believe it when these idiots went after the General Lee and even trying to
The
do
Confederate
away
flag.
because
On
the
the
General
beautiful
Lee
Dodge Charger.
on the beautiful Dodge Charger
it's a
had a
68 or 69
Confederate
tank.
flag on it. The left has been working for decades to do away with history. It's their racist history. The left are the ones who turn the fire hoses on black people. The left are the ones who unleashed the dogs on black people. The Democrats are the ones who founded the KKK. The Democrats are the ones who strung black people on a tree if they were caught talking to a white person, or if they were just accused of doing anything. The Democrats are the ones who voted against the Civil Rights Act because they didn't believe that blacks should have the right to vote. The Democrats are the ones who voted against the Women's Suffrage Act because they didn't believe women had the right to vote. The Democrats are the ones who support Planned Parenthood because they obviously support Planned Parenthood's mission of ridding the world of Margaret Sanger's quote-unquote weeds, which she meant as black people and now brown people. That is the reality. That is don't let them rewrite history with taking down all these monuments.
Let's actually hear what Trump said. I'm taking a chance here because I'm not sure I have this, but let's see.
Putting what you're calling the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a...
Okay, so what did he just say? I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. I'm not putting anybody on a moral equivalency. But here's John McCain, the cheap shot artist. You know, the same guy that called Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and Justin Amash wacko birds because they happen to believe in the U.S. Constitution, you know. He is taking a cheap shot at Trump, saying that Trump said there's a moral equivalency between these groups. And here is Trump telling this reporter, I'm drawing no moral equivalency. But so what is the media going with? They're going with the narrative Trump painted a moral equivalency. Let's just hear it again.
Putting what you're calling the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious, and it was horrible, and it was a horrible thing to watch. But there is another side. There was a group on this side, you can call them the left, you've just called them the left, that came violently attacking the other group.
So that's what they don't want to hear, right? That's what pulled their pants down. They want to protect the Democrat Party's terrorist arm, Antifa. Antifa is every
dangerous.
bit the terrorist arm of the Democrat Party, just like the KKK used to be.
Yeah.
And so
you have
John
CNN
McCain
entering protectionist mode over them.
This is an actual slime ball smear. And this is how he wins elections in Arizona.
With Democrat support.
Yeah. He smears his opponents unjustifiably. He takes millions and millions and millions of dollars knowing that, no startup candidate can even challenge him because they can't address the lies that he's spreading with the millions that he gets from the cronies. Okay, so here's something. Speaking of opportunists, establishment rhino squish John Kasich, who I like to call John Crotch Itch.
Wait a second. Wait a minute.
What?
Was he the son of a mailman?
Oh, yeah. Do you guys know that? His dad was a mailman. I mean, that qualifies.
I don't know if he ever caught that.
I know. I mean, that we should put like breaking in front of that. Every speech he gave during the 2016.
I'm the son of a mailman.
I'm a son of a mailman, so that gives me street cred because I'm down for the struggle, obviously. Right?
Right. Obviously.
I'm not an elitist because my dad was a mailman, so even though, I've been sucking off the government tit the last 30 years, whatever. Okay, so here's what was reported, and it was reported by Willie Geist, who I think is from MSNBC. I'm getting this from the right scoop. New, he tweets, sources close to John Kasich tell me after Charlottesville, there is growing sense of a, quote, moral imperative to primary Trump in 2020. Gag me with a pitchfork. This guy barely won his own state.
Barely. Did he win it?
He won it, but it wasn't a blowout or anything.
It's the only one he won.
No, yeah, that's the only one.
He was the laughing joke of the Republican
50
primary.
states. And yet he thinks somehow he has a chance. Now, Ted Cruz won what? 18, 19, 20 states?
Woo-woo.
I mean, John Kasich was horrible.
Horrible.
He was a horrible candidate. He's got no personality,
and he wasn't
no
likable,
charisma. He's not likable. He's our version of Hillary Clinton or something.
Right, exactly.
I mean, he's the male version, no charisma, no personality. He's ugly. Sorry, he just is.
He doesn't know how to eat pizza.
And he's a squish. He's a squish. He started out as a conservative in the 90s. He spent too much time in Washington
D.C.
and he turned into a rhino squish. And this is why he's like, oh, I'm glad we kept Obamacare. I'm glad. Canceling Obamacare would be cruel. Yeah, it'd be cruel. You know why? Because premiums would go down, and people that can't afford health care would suddenly be able to afford health care.
So it'd be cruel to the massive government infrastructure that just wants to control people.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. Okay, moving along here. So this is kind of exciting. It was announced today officially that the FBI is reopening their case on the Loretta Lynch, Bill Clinton infamous tarmac meeting. And initially, there was a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act case. It's a mouthful. From Judicial Watch. And James Comey told them that there were no records. The FBI had no records on that meeting. Well, it turns out there's like over 400 different emails. They're highly redacted, and maybe they're finally going to get somewhere on this. I'll just read it. This is from the Washington Free Beacon. The FBI's reopened a conservative organization's request for information about former Attorney General Loretta Lynch's meeting with President Bill Clinton after denying last year that there were any relevant records to disclose. The ACLU, that's the American Center for Law and Justice, Jordan Sekelo, said Wednesday he has received a letter this week from the ACLJ. What'd I say?
ACLU.
Okay, ACLJ, major correction there. Thank
you.
Totally different
that's why I'm
organization.
Here, honey.
I know, that's why you make the big bucks. He's received a letter this week from the FBI's Chief of Records Management saying that the agency had determined that there may be, quote, responsive FBI records to the group's Freedom of Information Act request last July, and so he has reopened the case. The agency told the ACLJ in October of last year, when the FBI was still under the direction of James Comey, that it had no records. So there's a problem there related to the infamous meeting between Lynch and Clinton on the Phoenix tarmac, right here, very, very close to us. And, honey, keep in mind, as you know, this is while Hillary Clinton was under not a matter, but an investigation.
Not a matter.
She wasn't under a matter. The FBI doesn't have matters.
Right.
They have investigations. But yet Lynch told Comey, so this is a boss telling her subordinate to lie for her, that it was not an investigation, which is what it was, an investigation, but just call it a matter.
We got to diminish it. We got to protect Hill the shill.
Oh my God. Unreal. So that's good news. Okay, the other thing blowing up tonight, we're here on Wednesday night, is that Steve Bannon gave an interview, and there's a lot of controversy behind it because he doesn't give interviews very often, number one. Number two, he gave it to a website called The American Prospect, which is a left-wing rag. So there's a lot of people upset that he gave it to a left-wing place. Why give them hits? Why give them any credibility? You know, why
help drive
these
traffic to
commie
their
pinkos?
site to make the money?
Makes absolutely no sense. But a couple of key takeaways. Apparently, Bannon invited this guy to the White House, this reporter with American Prospect, Robert Kuttner, Kuttner. I don't know who he was. I saw him on CNN earlier talking about it, and he was actually taken aback because he was on vacation. So he couldn't just go to the White House, but he said he would be happy to talk to Bannon on the phone. And so Bannon immediately called him after, hanging up with his assistant. And he told this reporter that he really liked the kind of stuff that he wrote about the trade problem with China. And the reporter was just taken aback by the whole thing. He's like, why is this guy calling me? Because I am anti-Trump. Why is he calling me? For example, this is an example. The guy wrote here recently in Kim, talking about, the North Korean guy, Trump has met his match. The risk of two arrogant fools blundering into a nuclear exchange is more serious than at any time since October 1962. So he thought maybe Bannon is going to want to scream at me or something. Scream at him. So that was weird. But they kind of agree on the trade policy that China has been screwing up America for decades. And they talk about that. They talk about some of the internal fighting in the White House with National Economic Council Chair Gary Cohn. He's a Goldman Sachs guy who's a liberal Democrat. And this is a problem with Trump. See, it's so troubling that even our dogs are upset about it. Boys, zip it.
Hey, Raymond. Ray.
Sorry, guys. I'm telling you, it's upsetting. It's so upsetting. Ray won't shut up about it.
Ray's irate.
Yeah, never get a corgi irate. But Bannon is at war with a lot of these libs, these progressive leftists in the White House. And you know what? This is Trump's fault. And you know what? In Ted Cruz's defense, he campaigned against Trump's New York values. And this is that prophetically coming back to bite Donald Trump in the ass because he surrounded himself with these New York liberals, New York values type guys.
Cannot relate to the everyday man across the country.
They can't. They can't. And they're not conservatives. They don't have the same values as the people that voted for Donald Trump. I'm sorry, they don't. But this is on prospect.org. Or if you don't want to do that, just go to thelibertydaily.com. Thelibertydaily.com.
You're a conservative alternative to the Drudge Report.
But here's the big take from this. Bannon called the
Where's that?
ethno-nationalism.
Probably ethno.
I think that's a fancy way of saying white supremacist, quite honestly, or white nationalist. Ethno-nationalism. It's losers. It's a fringe element. I think the media plays it up too much.
Yeah.
And we got to help crush it. Help crush it more. And he goes on to say, these guys are a collection of clowns. So there's Bannon specifically calling out, those on the so-called alt-right that may have racist leanings. The other big takeaway from this is he said, the Democrats, the longer they talk about identity politics, I got them. I want them to talk about racism every day. If the left is focused on race and identity, and we go with economic nationalism, we can crush the Democrats. I think that's right.
That is right, because I think people of all colors are getting tired of the what's
obsession.
The word I'm looking for? The obsession and
with
the
skin
attempt
color
to snow over people.
You can't say snow. That's indicative of white people.
Snow is white,
and it might trigger a snowflake.
Right.
You can't say snow.
But then again, I am black, and Eric Holder said it's impossible for me to do that.
Okay, so I'm sorry. Was that a microaggression that I did against you? So anyway, you can get that interview. It's kind of interesting, but the other thing about it is that now, according to reports, Bannon is saying that interviewing published was a shock to him, that he just thought he was having a talk with the reporter, a good old boy.
Man.
I mean,
come on, man! You think we're stupid?
He's kind of going Anthony Scaramucci here,
Good
and
night.
saying he didn't know he was on the record. And I saw the reporter on CNN tonight, and he said, he didn't say anything about being on or off the record. And the general rule is that if you're talking to a reporter,
right,
unless the person being interviewed saying this is off the record, then you have to assume
right
it's on the record. I mean that's the way the game is played, unfortunately. But this is blowing up heads apparently in the White House, according to Axios. How do you say that?
Axios.
AXIOS.com. They're saying that colleagues of Bannon within the White House are calling this a DEFCON 1 level bad. This interview from supposedly Bannon's colleagues. And they're also, they're extremely upset that he gave the interview to a left-wing rag.
Right.
But then he's saying, well, I didn't know it was an interview. Well, come on. You call a reporter?
If you didn't know it was an interview and you're interviewing with a left-wing rag, I think you need to fire whoever handles your schedule.
Yeah, you call a left-wing rag, I'd like to have a chat with you about Donald Trump, and you don't specifically say it's not on the record.
Right.
Unless he's got a recording of it himself that says it's not on the record, sorry. That ain't gonna fly. That is not gonna fly. So, did you guys hear what happened in Baltimore?
It's terrible.
In the middle of the night.
Cowards.
In the middle of the night, the mayor of Baltimore City ordered her government workers to remove Confederate monuments in the dark of the night while no one was looking. Now, no democratic process to this. No input, no voting, nothing. They just showed up and started, chopping down these relics, really, of American history. And, I think we need to coin a new term. The left is anti-history.
Mm-hmm.
They're always painting our side as anti-something. They're anti-history, like we're anti-science, etc. Why do they hate history?
Because it reveals their true colors.
You can't say colors of truth.
I can't say colors.
So, the Robert E. Lee, who again was not a slave owner, and spoke out against slavery, but whatever, that's just minor details here. He was taken down along with other Confederate. And if that was a good idea, why not do it in the middle of the day?
Right? Because when New Orleans
why not
took
be
a bunch
open
of
about
statues down, they did it very early in the morning, and
when no one was
people
looking.
were wearing black.
Yeah, maybe it was Antifa thugs.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we're going to wrap up tonight, honey. Do you have anything else to say?
Not really.
We're approaching 1 hour. Can you believe that?
Wow, woohoo!
That's the longest Burke Brigade ever.
Just people.
Episode 10. We'll go down in history.
Episode 10, baby. Just, stay vigilant, stay informed. That's the important thing. If you watch the mainstream media, what they're trying to do is indoctrinate you. Michael Brzezinski let the cat out of the bag. They believe it is their job to tell you what to think.
Yep.
Didn't Brian Williams also say it's their job to scare you?
Scare the hell out of people.
Yeah. No, it's their job to report the facts, which they don't. So be aware of the facts.
And realize there's no such thing as unbiased news. Everybody has their agenda. And that will help you immensely. Thank you so much for listening to the Burke Brigade. I'm Matthew Burke. This is Jennifer Burke. And we're here with Barney and not Barney.
Oh, Barney's our sweet boy. Passed away a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, we're here with Ray and Flash and
Bentley.
And we are so happy you guys tuned in. Thank you for listening to the Burke Brigade.
God
Brought to you
bless
by
you.
the Liberty Daily, thelibertydaily.com. God bless.